Showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
Infinite vacuum energy from space and the Casimir Effect.
Casimir Effect. Yes. This
So what's
is
happening?
interesting. So the article that we're talking about from Popular Mechanics provided it's an introduction into the pioneering work of Hendrik Casimir in predicting a tiny force between two metal plates from quantum field fluctuations. So what's interesting is that it proves the existence of quantum vacuum energy. So in the article, they're talking about the direct effect. It's really minuscule, but it does open doors to potentially harnessing an unlimited resource. What obviously further research is needed. Again, we're talking about theoretical pretty much. So with further research, the force could enable microscale levitation, frictionless bearings, precision manipulation of nano devices, and potentially even energy generation. But practical applications definitely require a lot of knowledge gain that we're going to have to do a lot more. But the ideas include using metamaterials to better exploit geometry, surface plasmons for resonance amplification, and phase transitions to trigger kind of large force differences. So the field itself needs more investigation into how the forces play in quantum phenomena. So there's overall, like, the prediction based on infinite quantum nodes is a whole new avenue in fundamental physics. But again, with this one, we've only scratched the surface of what's possible. So we're going to have, in order for this to even have any chance, we're going to have further breakthroughs in nanofabrication, exotic materials, quantum coherence, a whole bunch of further of breakthroughs. So there's a lot to unravel here, but it's an interesting how we might be able to tap into hinton quantum energy here.
So let's get into this a little bit. Well, what are we talking about? We just start plugging, have a space elevator. We run with our electric cable and plug it into space. How does this whole thing, the Casimir Effect, work? And how much unlimited? Is it a little energy forever, or is it a lot of energy as much as we want?
So here's the thing. Like, this is where I was thinking it was going, was getting the hoverboard from Back to the Future going. But yeah, as far as this, like, there's so much to unravel here. There's a few key reasons why this is potentially possible. So the vacuum. So it's an empty space, right? So because a vacuum is devoid of any energy or physical substance that could induce forces. So a force arising from a vacuum is kind of paradoxical. So it's, and again, we're talking about something from nothing. So we're essentially trying to harvest energy from an empty space. And that violates our intuition from thermodynamics and experience that energy must come from identifiable sources. So there's so many things that, and we're talking about, again, we're talking quantum level. So we're talking very, very tiny forces. And the forces that have been produced, there have been tiny forces that have been produced to date. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to explore this a lot further.
Yeah, I'm just glancing at a few of these other articles that are talking about that, yes, it is infinite. According to quantum theory, it's actually packed full of energy. Is automatically regularized to zero value without using any pre-purpose built. Yeah, so we can. It sounds really interesting, but is it really going to lead us in, let's just say, the next 50 years to infinite energy?
I don't think the next 50 years. I think we're talking, unless there's a breakthrough. I think we're talking 100 years if we're still on the planet by then. So like it, although it's been experimentally verified, right? But it doesn't provide a means, and we're talking about, and the article here talks about like light speed travel and stuff. This doesn't provide a means for light speed travel because of the special theory of relativity. It's pretty much impossible for any object with mass to travel at or faster than the speed of light. But then we also talked about in a previous episode that they did find a potential to wrap something in a bubble in order for it to, I think,
warp drive.
Yeah, warp drive. Yeah.
And then you were talking about some sort of weird slingshot effect, but I think that's just to get stuff in orbit.
It's a company. It's a viable company. That's how they launch satellites, using centripetal force.
I want to see it. It sounds like that medieval meme with the people doing the it's not a catapult, it's the French one where the thing swirls around and throws it. You know what I'm talking about. I can't remember what they're called now.
Sorry, it uses centrifugal force. Sorry, not centrifugal force, but it's called spin launch.
Spin launch. All right, we'll have to take a look at that. Let's not get too far off topic, chasing the stuff around. Why, if we know it's there and it's been proven, why is this such a challenge?
Because we don't have the materials, we don't have the knowledge. So there's a few factors. So small forces, because first off, small forces. Quantum forces involved are tiny. So they're equivalent to the weight of a bacterium or even less. So detecting such minute forces requires extremely sensitive equipment and isolation from environmental noise. So we'd have to essentially do this deep in the earth almost. So the other thing is close proximity. So enable to generate measurable Casimir forces, the objects must be positioned unnaturally close. And we're talking 10 to 100 nanometers close. So keeping two macroscopic objects perfectly parallel at this scale is very technologically demanding. The other thing is, if we're talking about it at that scale, surface properties. So the interacting materials, they need a super finely controlled surface smoothness, cleanliness, and conductivity to really observe the effect reliably, which requires meticulous preparation. Then we're talking about quantum coherence. So maintaining quantum coherence between the objects is essential, but it's hard to achieve on macro levels in a noisy lab environment, and it tends to suppress the effect. So there's a lot of factors that make this super, super challenging to measure and to work with.
Yeah, I'm just throwing up the video here. If people are watching, this is the Spin Launch website that they're talking about. Just because it's interesting, and we were talking about it. So,
yeah.
What makes the prediction of a force between the plates from vacuum fluctuations so counterintuitive? Why doesn't it work the way we think it works?
Well, yeah, there's a few reasons. There's action at scale. So the plates physically don't touch. So an invisible force between them defies our intuition about locally and contact forces like magnetism or gravity. And then again, we're talking quantum scale stuff. So the microscopic structure of the quantum vacuum is hidden from our direct perception. So quantum effects like virtual particles populating an empty space are not intuitive concepts. And so the deeper we dive into quantum, the more we learn about these brand new concepts for things that we have no real understanding of, and how to measure or how to observe or things like that. So again, the idea of harnessing energy from empty space, it violates our intuition of thermodynamics. It makes no sense classically, because no effect like this appears in classical electrodynamics or other physical theories. Only quantum field theory predicts this. So mathematical origin. So the Casimir force arises from a mathematical subtraction of infinities, not from simple mechanical picture. So it makes the effect seem almost, I hate to use this word, magical. And
magic.
So again, all of this stuff that we're talking about when it comes to quantum, we're almost, if you think about it, we're almost in that era before Tesla and Edison and all those guys, and they were coming up with all this new technology based on physics, not quantum physics, where people thought it was magic at the time, right? So we're getting into that, but I think we're years and years and years away, and you're still playing the spin launch video.
Well, might as well while we're chatting. Because it looks pretty cool, and I was the doubter saying, yeah, whatever, and then here we are. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta eat my own dog food when I.
Just the thing to note with spin launch is you cannot have a human person.
No, anything living would be dead.
Yeah, anything living in that. Yeah.
You got to be spinning around. What's the G-force? Do you have any idea? I'm curious.
I have no clue.
We'll have to do a one just on this because I'm really curious to what the G-force speed and how fast things are at launch. Like you're literally just throwing a rocket into space. Here you go.
Yeah. And we're talking, so in order to escape Earth's gravity and the gravitational pull, there's a certain speed or a certain metric that you have to achieve. So it's pretty interesting.
So back to infinite energy and achieving light speed, which is what they're saying. And we're talking, I read science fiction. We talk a lot about this. Most of the stuff gets maybe to a tenth of light speed from all practical.
It's actually funny because I don't know if you watched the new show, The 3-Body Problem.
I read
really
the book.
Cool. Okay. So they talk about light speed and but again, that's science fiction. That's a TV show. And they were talking about how they would have
they're 4 light years away, but it's going to take 400 years to get there, even though they can go 1/10 the speed of light.
They were going to send a probe with someone's brain. I think that's how they were going to do it, in order to send someone or send. Yeah, but anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, it's different. The show is probably different than the book, and from what I understand, they took some things from the second and third book to put it into the first season. So I'm not 100% sure. So you probably know or have more insight than I do because I just read the first book. Anyway, it's really interesting. Like when you're talking about people in these things, we can't accelerate at any speed. It takes years to get up to that speed is part of the problem. So I go back to unlimited vacuum in space, and I feel like, is this a trickle or is this like, the volcano of energy? When I flick the switch, is it coming in, or does that depend on how we build this interface between the two?
Well, there's a theoretical basis for this, right? So there are theories in quantum field fluctuations. Like there are proven theories. Now there's technical challenges. So, new physics may be required to induce or enhance the measurable energy shifts, producing macroscopic work. Like there's tons of challenges, but there's future prospects. In order for us to achieve future prospects, we're going to need breakthroughs in metamaterials, nanofabrication, quantum coherence, and other advanced technologies that we might not even know that we need yet. But there's significant gaps. So directly converting vacuum energy to electricity may prove elusive. Who knows? So yeah, this is super, super, super early. It does promise some potential, but the realistic outlook is we have so much more to learn on this. Like this is one of the earlier ones that we're covering.
Absolutely. This is another article here talking about how scientists are currently working on an experiment designed to show that it can even slow down light and deflect it, a vacuum. So this is interesting. So being able to, the only thing that we've seen to be able to do something like that is black holes, as far as I know, to bend or slow or move light.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But light does refract in materials currently.
Oh, of course. Refracting is different, but we're talking about a straight beam when it goes near a black hole, does this little whoop. Or get sucked in or whatever. Now we're talking about they can slow it down or deflect it, which is, I say deflection, which is interesting. Like what's deflect it with vacuum energy, this is what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Speaking of black holes, though, did you know that our modeling has changed because of a movie?
You're not going to go back to that 5-dimensional under the staircase movie, are we?
No, but just the modeling of the black hole, not anything else to do. That they were super accurate with the modeling and the depiction of a black hole. That's
you're
it.
You're not talking about Disney's original black hole movie.
No,
that
oh
little
my God,
robot that was great.
A dark movie, jeez. And they also had a pinball machine for that movie too. But anyways, we digress.
Of course. So light is supposed to travel in a straight line at the light speed in a vacuum. It will be slowed and deflected when the latter is subjected to strong magnetic fields. So it's interesting to see what they're trying to do. So these guys are trying to deflect it and use even the earliest version of quantum mechanics at the beginning, equations, a new theory introduced mathematic terms that baffled. It's a paradox in energy, like you were saying. So
yeah.
I'm very curious as to how quickly we can do. Yeah, magic. We got a little magic wand from our LinkedIn user here.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Quantum. We got real physics, and then quantum physics, which is magic. So we
magic physics.
Yeah, it's magic. And I'll believe when I see it, but I'm curious as to where all this going. Hey, this is an artist's impression of quantum vacuum fluctuation. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Just like any picture that's taken in space, how they render it, they add all the nice colors and stuff that we can't see. So
yeah, this is interesting because it changes everything long term. Yeah. If it's 100 years, 200 years out, if we're talking about going to the moon, which we were talking about mining on the moon, if we're talking about taking humanity out into space, if we can actually take energy and power ships or cities or civilizations through the energy of the vacuum, that becomes infinitely more likely.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to this one?
No, this one's really magic technology, but really cool stuff though. That when we're talking about energy and space exploration, if we can get something there, then yeah.
John, you help startups, technical companies, anybody with 2 developers or more find funding for their startups. What do you got going on, and what's the latest in startup funding?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of announcements made in the budget, so we'll have to see what comes out of that. I'm working on a summary right now. But yeah, I help companies across the board. I'm working with a agri company right now and a bunch of others all across the board, clean energy, different things like that. So if you're a Canadian company, or even if you're not a Canadian company, if you're incorporated in Canada, feel free to reach out. But yeah, that's I help with Shred is the best one to take advantage of because you're entitled to it. It's a tax credit, but there's tons of other grants and potential funding out there. Non-dilutive funding, I must say.
And people should reach out to you on LinkedIn?
Absolutely. Yeah. Send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll send you my Calendly and we'll set up a call. And
you got anything going on next couple of weeks?
Other than Startup Drinks on May 2nd, I've got an actual, this is really cool, fractional C-suites and consultant private dinner put on by Ryan Wong, who's a phenomenal guy. That's coming up on Tuesday of next week. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you're supposed to send me these links ahead of time so I can pull them up for people.
I know. I just thought of it right now. I apologize. Yeah,
I know. I try to Google these things, but we go through. I know, same thing. It's one of those things. That's great. Sounds wonderful. Do you know where they can find that? What do they Google?
That one's invite only, unfortunately. But that's okay. But there's other ones that Ryan puts on that I will talk about as they come up. So yeah, there's some.
And we'll get links in there so you can find. Where it is. Check out all our stuff at TorontoStarts.com. That's where you get the Futuretech podcast that comes out. We're behind on releases. Just so you know, we've actually got 42 episodes recorded, not including the 3 that'll come from this, because you mentioned that last week. And we've got like a 10 to be released that are all ready to go. I was slow releasing. I was doing 3 a week, and then I went to 1 a week when we switched my editing tool. So it took me a little while, but now I'm back. I know what I'm doing. Everything's good. So you'll see 3 episodes a week and maybe a little bit more as we I'll start pumping them out until we get a little less of a buffer. So you'll see
Nice.
more of those. If you're stuck in your business and you're looking to move ahead, you're having struggling with sales, finding clients, anything along that lines, go to startupcoach.ca, book a discovery call with me. We'll help you get unstuck and move to the next level. You mentioned on May 2nd, our Startup Drinks TO, we've got almost 50 tickets gone already. So it's going to be a great night. We're still just over 2 weeks away. Join us there. It's open bar, open pitch. You get 20 seconds to pitch. We have investors, founders, industry experts. It's a warm and welcoming environment. Everyone's going to give you advice and help you and connect. You always meet valuable connections, but it's not always what you think, the ones you think. And, I've talked to people as they're leaving. They found new business partners in this and that and the other thing. And it's always a great conversation. So hope to see you there. And we'll see you guys all next time on Futuretech.
Wow, that was amazing.
See you later, alligator.